Welcome back to another deep dive. Today, we're tackling something really fundamental for anyone building, well, pretty much anything in the cloud, Azure Storage. Imagine you're launching, say, a new service online. You've got images, user files, orders coming in, back-end tasks, loads of stuff to store and manage. Our mission today is to cut through the jargon. We've sifted through the sources, and we want to give you the essential nuggets so you really understand this foundational service. At its heart, Azure Storage is Microsoft's cloud solution for handling just massive amounts of data. It's built to be, scalable, durable, and highly available.
Exactly. And it's so important because it tackles head-on the big limitations of older traditional storage,
Yeah.
things like fixed capacity, all the maintenance headaches, the pain of scaling.
Yeah.
Azure Storage gives you this unified platform for all sorts of different data needs. It simplifies things quite a bit.
Okay, so we're going to unpack the four main services, right? Blob, File, Table, and Queue. Each one does something different, and knowing which is well, it's key. So let's start with Blob Storage. What is it? What problem is it really solving?
Right, Blob storage. It's designed for unstructured data, think images, videos, big backup files, log files, that kind of stuff. Its real power isn't just the almost limitless scale, though that's huge. It's also the tiered pricing. You've got hot for frequently accessed data, cool for less frequent, and archive for long-term cold storage. This really lets you optimize your costs. You're basically trading capital expense for operational expense, and you ditch the need for physical hardware for this data.
Okay, so if I'm running a static website, maybe with thousands of product images, Blob Storage plus Azure CDN for delivery.
Yeah.
That sounds like a perfect match, yeah.
Absolutely, a classic use case. Works great.
But you mentioned tiers. Archive sounds super cheap, but what's the catch? Where do people sometimes trip up with that?
Yeah, the catch is definitely retrieval time and cost. Archive is incredibly cost-effective for storage, but getting that data back can take hours. So the mistake is putting data there you might need relatively soon, even like next week. The retrieval costs can quickly wipe out any savings. It's strictly for long-term, rarely accessed data.
Got it. So Blob handles those big unstructured chunks. What if my team needs something more like a traditional shared network drive? Is that Azure file storage?
That's exactly where file storage comes in. It offers fully managed file shares you can access using the standard SMB or NFS protocols. It solves that whole problem of setting up and managing file servers yourself. Think of it as a direct-to-cloud replacement for an on-prem file server, perfect for distributed teams or hybrid scenarios.
Okay, so we've covered files and objects,
Sure.
but Azure also has storage for more, let's say, dynamic application data. That brings us to table and queue storage. How do they fit in?
Right, these are a bit different. Table storage is a NoSQL key value store. It's designed for structured but non-relational data. It's really, really fast for simple lookups based on a key. Think user profiles, configuration settings in a web app. The key thing to know is its limitations, though. It's not built for complex queries or joins like a relational database. It's optimized for speed on simple key lookups. Then you have queue storage. This one's all about reliable message queuing. Its genius, really, is how it helps build resilient applications by decoupling components. It handled asynchronous communication. So imagine an e-commerce site processing orders. The website can drop order messages into a queue, and back-end workers can process them at their own pace. It prevents bottlenecks, even under heavy load, because the front end isn't waiting for the back end. Things just keep flowing.
Oh, okay, so different parts of the app can communicate without needing an immediate response. That decoupling sounds powerful. You mentioned a 64 KB message size limit for queue storage, though. That sounds kind of small. Does that become a problem, or is there a workaround?
It sounds restrictive at first, yeah. But it actually encourages a good pattern. If you need to pass larger data, the standard approach is to store the big payload, like a file or large JSON object, in blob storage first. Then you just put a reference like the blob URL or an ID into the queue message. Keeps the queue itself really lightweight and fast.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So across all four of these, blob, file, table, queue, what are some common critical features people should know about? Reliability, security.
Definitely. There are some really important cross-cutting features. You get extremely high durability, like 99.99%, that's 11 nines often cited, plus robust options for geo-redundancy so your data can survive regional disasters. Encryption is standard, both for data at rest and while it's in transit. And security is deeply integrated using Azure Active Directory for identity and role-based access control, or RBAC, to manage permissions precisely. You can also use shared access signatures SAS tokens for granting very specific time-limited access to resources.
Okay, so it's built for enterprise needs. You can trust the data will be safe and available. All right, if you had to give just one critical best practice for someone starting out with Azure Storage, what would it be? Something to save them some pain later.
Hmm. One critical thing. I'd say really pay attention to cost management, especially with Blob storage tiers. Use Azure cost management tools to monitor spending. It's surprisingly easy to rack up unexpected costs if you choose the wrong tier or misconfigure lifecycle policies. Oh, and also enable soft delete. It's like a recycle bin for your storage accounts. It can be an absolute lifesaver if someone accidentally deletes data. Seriously, turn it on.
Good tips. So let's bring it all together. What does this all mean for someone listening trying to build things in the cloud?
Well, it means Azure Storage provides this incredibly versatile and scalable foundation for managing pretty much any kind of data you throw at it. By understanding these four core services, Blob, File, Table, Queue, you can make informed choices. Pick the right tool for your specific job, keep your data secure, manage costs effectively, and ultimately build more robust and scalable cloud solutions. It's really about using these powerful building blocks Microsoft provides.
Right, empowering you to build reliable and secure applications without having to manage all that underlying storage infrastructure yourself. So, as you think about data flow in your own applications, maybe ask yourself, how could decoupling components using something like Queue Storage or really dialing in those blob storage tiers, how could that dramatically reduce complexity or maybe save significant cost on your next project? Something to think about until our next deep dive.